So this is Apollo 11 press conference. And the reason I wanted to have a look at it today is because I think this is probably one of the strangest examples of human behaviour in contrast to what's going on, supposedly is going on, to what's actually going on I've ever seen. Because these people are the greatest heroes they could ever imagine being. They're military people, test pilots and engineers and all the rest of it. People who should be the happiest people in the world, who look like they're just about to be put to death.
Yeah, it's, as press conferences go, I've seen many press conferences, especially for something on a subject like this, where you've just had a massive exploration and it's something that the world has never seen before, and there's so much fanfare and so much behind it. It's a massive achievement. It's something to be so proud of yourself for.
Yeah, I mean, forget Olympic gold. This is on another level.
Yeah, they should be very proud of themselves. They should be very confident. They should have a spring in their step. They're pilots. Come on, they're pilots. They're test pilots and they're astronauts. The creme de la creme. The most bravest, most calm, collected individuals under pressure. And you've just come back from the biggest achievement ever. You are the biggest hero ever. But the reactions of these three individuals is quite shocking compared to what their achievements are. It's very glum, solemn, almost fearful, and I don't
even know how to put my finger on it. What's going on here? Because it's just so totally abstracted from what. There's such a huge gulf between the audience expecting them to be and what they are. That's what's so weird about this. These people sitting down are just under standing ovation for the greatest thing in the history of humankind, and these three people are in a completely different headspace. They are terrified of giving something away by the look of it. But let's have a look at them. I'm going to keep pausing it every time I see something really weird, and in this video that's going to be every 10 seconds because it is so unbelievable.
And also I think we're going to just cover the beginning part of the press conference because that's the most interesting part initially. If you guys really like it, we'll carry on and do some more analysis of the rest of the press conference. But the first 10-15 minutes is interesting because I think it's when you see them at their most vulnerable.
Well, also they don't have any props to distract them.
Yeah.
When they've got the photographs and everything, that's kind of getting away from it. When they have to go through it by themselves, it's this bit at the beginning, the sort of first 10-15 minutes. And what's happened to particularly Neil Armstrong is utterly bizarre. But let's just get to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Manned Spacecraft Center. This is the Apollo 11 press conference. The format today will consist of a 45-minute presentation by the Apollo 11 crew, followed by question and answers. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Apollo 11 crew, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin. Neil?
It was our pleasure to have participated in one great...
Okay, so I'm going to jump in straight there. Look at his shoulders. What happened to him as soon as you asked to speak?
Yeah, he kind of recoiled, didn't he? He's recoiled, oh no, now's my time to spill out whatever kind of made up story or whatever I've been told to say. It's not like it's natural, is it? It's coming across as something that you can't wait to tell the audience. I'm here, I made it. Thank you for the great welcome. We're really proud of what we've achieved.
Yeah,
really
nobody ever even mentions
proud of all the people behind us. Yeah,
nobody ever even mentions the standing ovation.
Yeah,
they're going straight off a script. They do not deviate one word.
But they're not thanking anyone. Normally,
exactly.
When someone's standing up and clapping you, well, thank you. I appreciate your applause. But not even that.
Well, maybe in the 60s it would have been slightly different, but it just seems so... It's almost like somebody says to them, you go off this script one word, and...
It's curtains.
Exactly. We're going to really do something terrible. Anyway, let's go on a little bit further, see how we get on.
Adventure. an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade. We all here and the people listening in today had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us.
What the distancing in this speech is so utterly bizarre. In the final month of July. What, in the final month of July? Is that what he said?
Yeah, well, obviously, it's not just the space flight that's a durational thing. It's getting to that. He's obviously mentioned that obviously the 10 years leading up to it, where all the testing and all the different astronauts went through, and all the engineers created different approaches on how to get this Saturn V to work and to get them to the moon and so forth. So it's a long, strung out process that obviously culminated in the moon landing. Fine, there's a lot of effort. But that's not quite the question. That's not quite what you would say in that situation.
But this isn't even the final flight.
Yeah.
Why would you say the final month of July? Is that what he said? Let's just go back a second. He was saying it in such a weird way. It was difficult to understand what he was saying, to be honest.
Yeah.
Share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July.
That is a really, really weird phrase. In that final month of July.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I mean, even before he started to say this, just before he was about to speak, the way he grinded his teeth and his jaw were like...
I think you're right.
He was very...
Let's go back to that, because
he was very troubled.
It's where he's close up that it's
where
really
his consciousness was just kind of in direct conflict with what he wanted to say.
Exactly. Particularly...
That's Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin. Neil?
It was our pleasure to have participated in one great adventure. It's an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade.
There. Where his jaw goes forward.
Oh, God,
why
am I saying this? Why do I have to say this?
Well, it's not even... I don't even think it's conscious thought. It's completely muscle stress.
Yeah.
It's completely sort of visceral. That's not why am I... It's just pure stress. It's an incredible amount of stress.
And the eyes jotting left and right. It's like he's reenacting something in his mind that he has to get right. When your eyes go left and right like that, you're not... It's like you're visualising something that you have.
Let's turn down the volume of them a bit so we can just talk. Because what they're saying is almost unimportant. It's much more...
Don't turn it down too much, because it's what they say. It's not as important, but I know it's how they say it. But at the same time, let's see what we got.
Look at the way he pulls back like that. That stress is so great.
The release of pressure. The meds.
Jaw goes forward. There's something horribly regretful about that thought.
There's something deep in there, isn't there? That he's just
10 years of lies. It's almost what he's kind of regretting in that kind of... It's just such a hugely physical outlet.
You can't hide that, can you?
You see, that's what he's thinking about. There's something took place in this last decade he can't talk about.
Yeah.
Listening in today, had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us of that decade. We're going to divert a little bit from the format of past press conferences and talk about the things that interested us most, in particular the things that occurred on and about the moon. We will use...
Okay. Now, I don't know how... If you were talking about a mission where you just coming back from... I mean, these guys aren't SR-71 pilots. They're not, they're not that kind of people. They're test pilot kind of guys, right?
They're even braver than SR-71 pilots.
But they're not coming back from Russia having to watch who they say stuff in front of.
It's not a debrief that they,
It's not that kind of a thing.
No.
There shouldn't be anything that he can't talk about.
It's NASA. It's a national agency that's funded by the people. At the time, that's the perception of it, and
but there's
obviously
no...
there's nothing. There's not a military exercise. It's not linked to any military.
Well, there's no button he can't talk about. There's no switch he can't talk about. There's no speed he can't talk about. There's no atmosphere he can't talk about. Supposedly, but that obviously is not the case.
But it's not only him. But you see Michael Collins constantly looking for reassurance.
Well, is it reassurance? I think he's looking in.
He's so uncomfortable that he doesn't know where to look. I don't think
he's looking for reassurance. I think he's just worried Neil's going to say what he hopes he doesn't say.
That's what I mean. Looking for reassurance. He's looking for reassurance. You're not going to say what I think you're going to say. And it's like he thinks he's going to splurt out some secret any minute now. He's like, oh my God, what's he going to say next? He's going to say it now. And then you have Buzz in the corner, just like sweaty palms and kind of scared, solid stiff.
Buzz to me looks much more like the person making sure the other two stay in line. That's what it looks like to me. He's always looking left the whole time. He never looks at the audience. Well, I mean, he does look at the audience when he's asked a question, but he's always got his eyes on the other two, whereas the other two were shifting everywhere. It just kind of feels to me that Buzz has got a stronger feeling of, like, I don't know how to put it. Like he is thinking more about America as a whole than the three of them, kind of, almost, or something like that.
Maybe the big picture approach, but it just strikes me as such an uncomfortable moment that should not be uncomfortable. It just doesn't make any sense for it.
It doesn't make any sense.
It just feels so uncomfortable.
No,
Why are you
there's
so
no
uncomfortable
conclusion to
talk
draw
about such an achievement?
There's no conclusion to draw. But as soon as he thinks about the last 10 years, it's enough to make him completely lose his composure and dart back away from the microphone in horror or disgust or terrible memories or something.
Just knot it up.
Maybe he thinks that, I mean, it could be something as simple as the loss of the memory of the loss of his friends in Apollo 1.
Gus Grissom and
White and Chappell. But I mean, it doesn't seem like that, because that's not a whole decade. You didn't lose your friends every day for a decade.
No.
The thought of the decade is incredibly upsetting.
It's taxing on him, isn't it?
Incredibly upsetting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see what else we've got.
A number of films and slides which most of you have already seen, and with the intent of pointing out some of the things that we observed on the spot, which may not be obvious to those of you who are looking at them here from the surface of Earth. The flight, as you know, started promptly, and I think that was characterized.
Wow, I mean, that's one of the that's one of the weirdest deliveries of anything I've ever seen. He doesn't even pause. He goes. It's like he's into the next sentence. The mission started promptly. He's begun talking about the takeoff. We barely even understood that he stopped talking about the.
Yeah, the transition's very odd.
It's just incredibly bizarre.
And again, it's just searching his deep psyche to find the right word without giving something away or saying something wrong. There's an internal struggle going on there. it's a massive internal struggle because it's just because you physically can see him manifesting all these different struggles going on in his head and it's coming through his body
But
language.
he's had weeks stuck in a bloody glass box with nothing to do but get ready for this.
Yeah.
So what's happened?
What's happened to him?
What were they really doing in that? They can't have been in quarantine. They've been something much more horrible than quarantine, or something like that.
Yeah, something's going on there that all three of them.
I mean, to be honest, they look like they've been through freaking. What's the name of that weird brain?
They look like they've just been picked up from a Vietnamese prison camp, and they've seen the most horrendous things and been through the most horrendous things, and they don't barely want to talk about it because it's PTSD. It looks like that. You just don't want to approach this. A lot like what military people come back and I've had a few friends in the military before, and they're very solemn and stoic about what's happened to them and what they've gone through, and they're very reserved. But people that have been really messed up in war, it really does turn. It just changes your perception of life, everyday life in normal civvies. These guys look like they've been through the grinder and back. They look like they've got PTSD.
Like they've been through like experiments or something. What do they call that program in the 60s?
There's some serious trauma going on here, isn't there? There must be some serious trauma for them to be looking like this, acting like this, sounding like this.
Trauma is the word. Yeah.
There's some serious trauma about going on here with these guys.
These guys are going through it right now.
Yeah, and they're reliving it.
Maybe that's what's happening, is they're reliving something terrible. But whatever it is, I just find it disturbing to watch.
It's uncomfortable.
It's disturbing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would have been like to be a member of the press. What would you be thinking as a member of the press? Like, you're outside, you probably had a couple of drinks. Do you know what I mean? You're celebrating. It's the 60s. Probably had a couple of drinks going, we're going to have this guy, I can't wait to get into this press. I'm a really big NASA fan. Then you go and you sit down and they start talking like this. You'd be like,
God, have these guys been to the moon or been to hell?
Because it's going out live, and you're just thinking, what are we going to say to sum this up? Yeah. Get on the line to the producers in New York. Tell him I'll find out what he wants us to say about this. Yeah. It's just,
Let's see what else they've got to say.
bizarre.
Characteristic of all the events of the flight, the Saturn gave us one magnificent ride.
I've got to pause it there, because that grimace. Do you know what that grimace says to me?
That I've never been on the set.
No, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that at all. I'll tell you what it says to me. It says to me that that's the only true part of this story. That's what it looks like to me.
And I think that's characteristic
Just watching this bit here.
of all the events of the flight.
I'll just turn him down for a minute.
The Saturn gave us one magnificent ride.
That grimace there, where he sort of puts it together, and it's almost like he's saying to himself, well, at least that's true. That's just how it feels to me. I don't know how else to put it into words. That's what it feels like. It feels like he's saying the one thing he's allowed to say about what really happened. That's just what it...
But even that, it's still melancholy.
It
It's
would
a
be
Saturn V rocket that you've just shot you into space to the moon. It's one hell of a... There's no emotion in there. It's a very flat, dead description
because it wasn't
something.
taking him where it was supposed to take him, or something like that.
Well, obviously, I don't know about but just that description of that moment of lifting off of that rocket from the launch pad, that is one of the most exhilarating, flipping things you could ever do.
I would cack myself.
Well, yeah, you cack yourself, but to remember it and to portray that story to someone else, you would have some excitement. It would bring a smile to your face. Your eyelids would pop up.
You'd shake your head in that
You'd
kind
be
of,
like,
wow,
wow,
you wouldn't believe what it's like.
Yeah, it was like the best experience I've ever had. There's none of that here. There's none of it.
Well,
And
maybe
it's the fastest they've ever got in their lives.
Well, maybe I suppose it's possible that they were, told to keep it formal, but that's not how this feels to me. It feels like that memory is a dread. It's the only way I can describe it. He dreads that memory.
Yeah.
And which is just inconceivable, to use the word of a Sicilian. Anyway, let's go a little bit further.
Both into Earth orbit and on a trajectory to the moon. Our memory of that act.
We've got to interrupt her there. Because look what happens. Let's just make him a bit quieter 1 second. This bit here, I think, is really telling. Into Earth orbit, which is, I think, what happened. The way he has to pause after that.
Well, trajectory.
Look, he can't speak. He can't speak. Look at that. His lip is trembling.
Our memory of that actually differs little.
I mean, that to me, where he has to pause when he says "our memory," is so weird.
It's another example of him having an internal struggle with what he's saying against what he's thinking.
From the reports that you have all heard from those previous Saturn V flights, and those the previous flights served us well in preparation for this flight in the boost as well as the subsequent phases.
And so there he recalls again. So that whole idea, so that part we're going for, he's talking about his memory. So just to recap that whole bit, I know we've sort of gone over it a few times, but it's from orbit to translunar injection.
Yeah.
Every time he references his memory, every time he references the change between those two places, he just completely breaks down.
Yeah.
And then the weirdest part of this whole press conference is just coming up.
We would like to skip directly to the translunar coast phase and
what the hell was that?
So that was deliberately cut. So why would you cut that? I wonder what the people there saw at that moment that's been cut.
Well, hang on a sec. Was that done for this video for 1994, or was that?
That's what we don't know. We don't know if it was done on the live feed or if it was edited, obviously post.
But even if it was edited post, why?
It's quite an important part because he's literally talking about that transitional part where they are starting their. They've got their gravitational pull from around the Earth's gravity, and then they're shooting themselves off towards the lunar.
Well, they're in the orbit of Earth.
Yes.
7.8 kilometers. And they've got to do 2.38 kilometers a second more to get to 11.2 to get to translunar injection. And for some reason, that is one of the most stressful things he talks about.
Our memory
that grimace there
of that actually differs little from our memory.
Just how long it takes him to say that.
Yeah.
Our memory. It's so stressful.
But even the words he's selected to use, our memory differs little from what we all saw.
Yeah. So it's not the same. What you saw and what we remember is not the same thing.
Yeah.
He's actually saying that.
Yeah. Those are the words, which I find intriguing because,
it differs little.
It differs little from what we saw.
But it's not the same.
But it's something. the difference is something that we can't tell you about.
That is truly bizarre that he says that.
Yeah,
because unmistakably that's what he says.
You've got to read between the lines on that one. That's difficult. And then we obviously need to go to the cut-off, which we can't confirm whether it's post-production or if it happened live. But it's very convenient.
But it can't have happened live. You couldn't do it live.
Not live.
But presumably they recorded
on
this.
The TV feed when it was made. The editor who was doing the live presentation.
It wouldn't have been. So that means
he could have cut it. He could have cut it post-production because. I don't know if that was a live press conference.
I don't think it would.
I don't think they had the technology to do the live things then.
Well, they definitely had the technology to do live.
Yeah,
but because they did live from the moon. But supposedly.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, if you have someone under this much stress, would you really photograph them live? I don't think you would. You're worried about what they'd say, surely.
No, you'd definitely want to validate everything.
You'd have a delay on it or
You'd
something.
have a delay, like a 24-hour
delay. Yeah, 28-day delay. Which they'd already had a 28-day delay, hadn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but it's
some
also
of the oddest moments in the whole thing. Yeah.
it's also kind of absolutely bizarre.
Of that actually differs little from the reports that you have all heard from those previous Saturn V flights. And
you know what? There's one thing about, I think it was something. There's one thing people need to know about him. He was quite a religious man.
Oh, very religious, very reliable.
Telling lies would be something that would really crux him, because he's not he's the most straight stand-up guy ever. Straight A student, got everything going for him, but he's also very religious and a very upstanding individual. So for him to be forced to say something that is not true, or something that he doesn't feel that is correct for him to say, it troubles him. It troubles him. You can see that trouble in his eyes. That
he hasn't found a way to believe that it's the right thing for the people of America.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I think that's the difference between him and Buzz. Is Buzz, to me, looks like somebody who's found a way to straighten it in himself.
He's accepted it.
He's found a way to know that it's the right thing to do. Whereas Neil doesn't seem to be. Neil and Michael don't seem to be able to do that. They've got some, and we don't even know what the lie is. That's what the crazy thing about this
is. We're speculating what the lie is.
We don't even know what the lie is. The lie could be that they couldn't land on the moon because there was already people there. The lie could be they didn't go to the moon. The lie could be that all the film got wiped by radiation. They had to record another one.
Yeah.
That might be all it is. They might have walked on the moon, but it was a completely different experience to what we saw. Maybe that's why he's so afraid of saying anything.
Yeah.
It's because when they landed on the moon, they didn't land on a place anything like what we saw. They landed on a completely different situation, and the film was all they could make. We've got no idea.
They're good points. They've
got no idea what it could be. No. All we can say is that it was. He is terrified.
It's not what he's saying it was, and
he's terrified
of it.
Of accidentally telling us what really happened.
Yeah.
Little from the reports that you have all heard from those previous Saturn V flights, and those the previous flights served us well in preparation for this flight in the boost as well as the subsequent phases. We would like to skip directly to the translunar coast phase and undockings, or the transposition and docking sequence.
Okay, I mean now they put the lights out against it, but I mean just the.
But him going through that should come so naturally. Just saying those sequences and the process of what. From launch to transition on to head towards the moon.
But even
that is something that is ingrained in you. You've been doing this for 10 years. That's something that just come out of your mouth like that. It's this, and this is what I'm going to be doing. But it's not even that. It's so fragmented, and it's so. I don't know. He's gone so deep into thought on every single word coming out of his mouth. It's just not natural.
I suppose there's a difference between practicing lying and having to do it for real. But there's something else that I find really confusing here, is the way that he talks about the other Saturn missions, the other Apollo missions.
Leading up to it, yeah.
It's almost as if he was completely convinced they were all real until he did his one. That's almost how it seems to me. I'll just show you what I mean by that.
Our memory.
That bit there.
Both. The flight, as you know, started promptly.
This is where he starts talking about the takeoff.
And I think that was characteristic of all the events of the flight.
What does that mean? Nothing.
Saturn gave us one magnificent ride.
Okay, so there's his grimace.
Both into Earth orbit.
He's thinking about the effect on everyone of what he's saying, every word almost.
Yeah.
Our memory.
Look at that. The way he grimaces
there. He just
there.
convinced himself that our memories are real.
From the reports that you have all heard from
It's almost as if that's what he's thinking. He's been told that he's been brainwashed.
This is my reality.
Served us well in preparation for this flight in the boost as well as the subsequent phases.
And whatever he thinks here just makes him pull back again.
Oh,
It just...
something.
Skip directly to the translunar coast phase.
Just skip directly to that. He had to get away from this whole. He had to move it on, didn't he? He had to move it on.
He's got a horrible brain block between being in orbit and being in the translunar phase, the translunar injection, which to me either sounds...
That's a 4 or 5 day journey, isn't it?
So there's something between being in orbit and being on the way to the moon is of terrible memory to him. And I think there's a possibility that this is tied up with other videos I've seen regarding them being made to perform optical illusions using pieces of
Using black screens and
black screens and stuff in Apollo.
Yeah,
And I think that's
the simulator.
Yeah, that could be the memory, or a flipping UFO flew by when they were about to go towards the moon and told them not to do
anything. It's just so disturbing to him.
But it's between orbit and translunar injection. That is this horrible memory.
Yeah.
Something he can't face even now, after 28 days of being... I mean, they must have been prepping him for this in the whole time.
Exactly. You're not sat there in quarantine. You want these guys are, they're quite active people. They're not going to want to be sat in one place, not doing anything. Obviously, they were sat in one place when they're on the rocket, but you're working. You're on the rocket. You're trying to survive.
You've got to work.
But in quarantine, you literally have nothing else to do except for
They would have had a day-by-day plan. They're the military.
Day-by-day briefings, day-by-day plan. Everything. Yeah.
They would have been writing stuff. They would have been doing radio interviews.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they couldn't do radio interviews.
No, they would be doing debriefings at multiple agencies after that.
This is what we're being told they did. I mean, what they really did, obviously, is completely behind closed doors. But whatever they did, they must have been doing something to get ready for this. You wouldn't just say, oh, and by the way, we're going to do a press conference in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and just throw them in the deep end. It's... Well, they obviously were planned because, look, they have a presentation, they have slides, everything ready. So
exactly.
When you have a presentation like that, I'm having done presentations myself, and you prepare for that for weeks. Obviously,
you say everything 8 times.
You say everything 8 times. You say it, well, a week before, you say it in front of people, and you ask for their criticism and critiques. Obviously, I know people that will do it the day before, and I don't know, they might pull it off, they might not, but 9 times out of 10.
But these guys don't do it.
But these guys don't work like that. These guys are, plan for everything, even the things that are impossible to happen. They would have had every corner covered.
So how did this happen? I mean, it just seems to me that what we're watching is fundamentally impossible. I can't think of any set of circumstances that you could wind up with an interview, a press conference, this bizarre. I just can't think of any set of circumstances that would bring us to this.
This is the sort of thing. You'd only sound and look like this if you had a death of a close relative or friend,
or if the whole of frickin' space is completely unreal, or who knows? It's all less. You know what I mean? The whole thing is just so weird.
Yeah, you don't look and act like that on such a momentous occasion.
It just seems to me that whatever these guys believed was going to happen was exactly the opposite of what went down. That's the only way I can describe it. They just look like, I mean, if you took your kids along to see, Bambi, and they sat through Nightmare on Elm Street 3, it wouldn't be this bad.
No.
I mean...
the post-film reaction would not be this bad. It'd be more excitable, at least.
Exactly. They'd be, what was all that about?
Even if it was scary and bad, it'd be more excitable.
These guys are traumatised.
Yeah.
There's no other word for it. They are terribly traumatised, and yet, after all the time in quarantine, they haven't had time to get over it, which is odd, because they're military, and getting over stuff is what they do. And I just can't account for this. Even if the moon landings were faked, I wouldn't have thought it would be this bad.
No, it wouldn't be.
You'd have got over it by a month.
Yeah. This is so disturbing to them. It almost feels like it's beyond a fake moon landing, doesn't it?
It does.
It feels like it's something greater, that they're not.
Yeah, like they've been taken
back
into the back room and the whole world's controlled by a sort of little green man. It's just like, don't screw with me, man.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah.
Like he's just met Predator.
Well, yeah, or something like that. Or, like, yeah,
Or Alien, from the movie Alien. He's just met Alien out the back, and Alien said to them, look, don't screw around, or I'll cut you up.
I just can't describe it. I don't know, you know, because we've got to look at this from our personal perspective. You know, I think every human being that watches these sort of things can put themselves in someone else's shoes and kind of visualize how you'd be feeling to communicate like that. And that's how I look at it. I mean, if I sat and I acted the way he did, and my words were broken, and every single word that came out of my mouth needed a 5-second pause of thought before I spurted it out, and I kept physically moving around,
yes,
recoiling and so forth. There's something in me that is so emotional that I'm bottling up, that my physical appearance cannot hide it. That's the sort of reaction.
A month down the line.
Yeah, and this is a month down the line, exactly.
You had a month to practice this.
Yeah, so this is like you said, like we've been saying all the episode. This is pure trauma that's manifesting itself physically and in broken speech and in physical movements that just don't look right and fit into this.
This cannot be accounted
scenario.
for by being nervous about speaking in front of people.
No,
it cannot be.
No, this is not nerves. This is not nerves.
This is something horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get a little bit further into it.
All right. The transposition and docking sequence.
This was our first look at the magnificent machinery which had been behind us up until this point.
We could probably end it there, because, to be honest, once the lights go down and they've got the props, the pressure's off.
Yeah, they can hide behind the slides now and just describe what they're seeing. I think it was really important for us to play the intro, and just to go through those key moments of the intro. Just this interview, or this press conference is over an hour long. If you guys like this and it's popular, we're happy to look at the rest of it.
But there are bits where the others speak and they interact a bit more. But to me, you know, Neil Armstrong, you know, even when he said, one small step for man, one giant step, he got that wrong. He's supposed to say one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. Even that seems to me like he was under the trauma he's under here. Do you know what I mean? This guy... He's landed. He's landed.
The balls of sweat coming from his brow.
The bit where he's landing it, the stress is gone.
Yeah.
He's done it. He's had 10. I don't know how long it took him to get his suit on, but I think they had a sleep before they did the EVA, if I remember correctly. He should be. He's had a meal, had a sleep. He should be super relaxed when he's going down those stairs.
Yeah.
Compared to, I mean, okay, it's maybe a little bit shocking that you're about to set foot on the moon. But compared to landing, you know, everyone's going to be like, if you can't land it, we're all screwed.
Yeah, we're all dead.
Once you put it down, all you got to do is put your spacesuit on. Okay, there might be, the radiation might be worse than expected. You might start to cook, in which case you have to get back inside.
Yeah.
But by the time you put your foot on the ground, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for man. And you can hear him pause. He goes, one small step for man. He realises he should have said for a man.
Yeah. And
he goes, one giant leap for mankind. And then you hear the guy on the TV going, there you have it, one small step for man, one giant leap for man. And they have this big sign come up on the screen, Armstrong or moon.
Yeah.
You know, as if it wasn't obvious. I mean, I don't know what to say about it, but there's a huge amount of stress at every point.
Yeah, and to be clear, we are not behavioural experts. You know, this is not our day-to-day job. But we're human beings, and for this to be this obvious to us, and I've seen numerous experts look at this, and they all kind of like, well, it doesn't kind of make sense.
Well,
but,
I mean, the thing about being an expert is you've got to put your professional on the line.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you were to say, oh, this can't be explained by just being nervous about being in front of people, well, then you're laying down
you're making enemies in big places quickly.
Exactly, and
that's not going to be good for your career.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, we can't say for sure what happened, but all we can tell you is that whatever has happened to these people is not going to the moon, landing successfully, and coming back again. That is not what's happened here.
That is not the emotion they are portraying. That is not the kind of language they are using. It is too melancholy. It is too reserved, too nervous, too on edge.
I've never seen anyone in court
Yeah.
act like they act.
No.
Never.
No.
In all the jury duty I've done, I've never seen anybody behave like that. And I think, that's all you can say, is that whether they've been hypnotised or mind controlled or in some other state of mind I've never seen before, but whatever it is, I've never ever seen it anywhere else.
No.
And I think that's about where we'll wrap it up.
Well, till next time, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.